Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Hey, we had some showers and thunderstorms roll through here Monday. A few of them produced some hail and some rather gusty winds. Let's take a look at some of the wind gusts around the area here. This is Monday's storms. We had some wind damage at Cedar Springs, and this is nothing major. This is just a tree or two down. Paw Paw, Van Buren County, and also the town of Findlay, which is in Cass County, a little tiny town there. Hail reports: Cedar Springs, Ionia, Belding, Freeport, Middleville, Gun Lake, Climax, Alaska, which is southeast Kent County, Plainwell, Caledonia, Sparta, and Hastings. And we hope the hail didn't hurt any of the apples that are starting out up there in the Sparta area, but they did have, I saw one video, I think, that we showed on Wood TV 8 of hail totally covering the ground up in Sparta. Wind gusts 49 miles an hour, Paw Paw, 47 miles an hour, Battle Creek and Jackson. And I don't know if those were with thunderstorms or just the general strong winds that we had during the afternoon. At one point, consumers had 4,224 customers without power. However, they had about 1,000 of those back online after about 3 hours. So they were really doing a good job of getting people connected once again. Fortunately, no severe weather on the tap for today, but we will be cooler at the lake again. I want to show you some of the high temperatures that we had here for Monday. Grand Rapids at 78, Kalamazoo 77. If you were on the South Haven Pier, never got warmer than 64, and the Muskegon Pier at 61. So you compare the 78 in Grand Rapids to the 61 on the Muskegon Pier, and that's a big difference. And in fact, all of this week when we've had that onshore breeze, we've had a difference of about 15 degrees between Grand Rapids and right at the lake. And the lake is still pretty cold out there. By the way, that's the Friends Goodwill, the maritime sloop. We talked about that yesterday coming out of the South Haven Channel. You can take a ride on that. They have excursions most evenings during the summertime. Be a fun thing to do. It's not a pirate ship. It's a merchant ship from the early 1800s. And it's nice that they have that up and running there. Okay, let's move on here. The lakeshore forecast for today calls for west winds of 10 to 20 knots. So the lake's going to get kind of choppy out there. We could be up around 2 to 3 feet during the midday and afternoon. Water temps, Mears at 54, Muskegon 59, Grand Haven and Saugatuck just 53, and Reeds Lake Inland, the inland lakes are certainly going to be warmer, 69 degrees there. But Lake Michigan is still pretty chilly out there, and it's going to take a while yet to warm that big lake up, probably until July before really seeing warm temperatures out there again. Okay, taking a look next at the fire weather update. There were no alerts for us, but there may be a little bit of thin smoke out there the next couple of days. We've been following statistics there. There's one more significant fire we've added. We're up to 29 now in Manitoba, but the same number out of control. So while a significant fire has been included, that appears to be something that they pretty quickly got under control here. 190 firefighters, that's a significant increase from yesterday. 6 water bombers. I love that term, water bombers. It sounds like a roller derby team, doesn't it? The water bombers, here they come. 44 helicopters, that's one more than yesterday, and 4 other aircraft. And I would guess that those are aircraft that are dropping chemicals and not water. So they are putting up a significant fight up here. Temperatures are not real warm up in Canada, so that's a good thing. No blazing heat waves. And they've had a little bit of light rain here. They could certainly use some more. Okay, we'll take a look right now at a hurricane update. We had the longest stretch going into all the way June 8th without a hurricane in the Northern Hemisphere. And then we had Alvin, which this was a tropical storm in the Eastern Pacific. We've had Barbara, which made hurricane status very briefly on Monday. And then I just got word now that it's back to a tropical storm, and it will weaken into a depression and maybe just a couple of areas of showers as it moves toward Cabo San Lucas and the southern tip of the Baja Peninsula. Cosme will drift to the northwest and eventually fall apart as well. And then we will have a new one, and I think the next name is Dalila or something like that in the area off of Mexico, but it should be far enough offshore that it shouldn't cause any significant problems. The fact that they get a few showers on shore, they'll be grateful for that, cool them off just a little bit here in early summer. There's still nothing in the western Pacific Ocean there, and there's nothing in the Atlantic. In fact, the Atlantic may not see a tropical storm for the next 10 to 14 days. So that's good news for the folks in the southeastern United States. All right, we're going to take a moment now and thank our sponsors, starting with Complete Care Concierge, LLC.
And we're so grateful for Complete Care Concierge for sponsoring Bill, Steffen Weather. They are the fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service. They do residential and commercial cleans. They can clean once. They can clean on a repeated basis. They can do special projects and circumstances, whatever you need. And they serve all of West Michigan, so they're there wherever you need them. 616-264-1397. We'll put their number in the show notes. And here's word from our other sponsor.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Thank you, Ace. Hey, our headlines, dry weather expected here for today. The chance of rain is not 0, but it's only about 10%, and that would be inland, and I wouldn't worry about it. And tomorrow, Wednesday, should be maybe the nicest day of the week. It'll warm up in the afternoon. We'll see a lot of sunshine, nice gentle breeze. Should be a pretty nice day. Cool weather today will be 5 to 10 degrees cooler than average. Warmer weather for Wednesday as we get back up to 80 at least. There'll be chances for rain starting Wednesday night and probably continuing all the way into Saturday. It won't be raining all the time, no all-day rains, but certainly a wetter pattern shaping up. And for a few of you, that's probably a good thing. I didn't get any rain at all on Monday. About 3 drops. That was about it. So I could certainly use some rain here. It's starting to dry out my grass right out by the road where the road heats up in the sunshine there. Cooler temperatures continue near Lake Michigan the next several days with an onshore breeze. Taking a look right now at the sunrise and sunset time. We're at the earliest sunrise of the year at 6:03, sunset at 9:20. These are the longest days of the year over the next 3 weeks. Summer solstice is June the 20th, and a reminder again to use your sunblock out there, especially if you're apt to burn. Again, the sun rises a little bit more toward the northeast, sets more toward the northwest. And we're right about the time of full moon right now. I should mention that as well. So that's kind of neat. You can look for the full moon up there in the sky the next several nights. All right, taking a look at severe weather threat. Nothing for the Great Lakes here, but you can see several areas where they'll be watching the storms, primarily down in southeastern New Mexico, down to the Rio Grande Valley down there, a slight risk. That's level 2, mainly for wind damage. And there'll be a marginal risk for cities like Austin, San Antonio, and New Orleans. And then up the East Coast for Savannah, Charleston, up Outer Banks in North Carolina, up to New Jersey, getting some heavy storms. And a couple areas out west. Look at that area in Northern California and Southern Oregon with a marginal risk for a severe thunderstorm with some gusty winds. And another day out there in Montana. And take a look at this, the day for the severe weather outlook for the day Wednesday. And a pretty large area out there in the northern Rockies could see some gusty winds, and also down in Texas. But what we're concerned about is that stretch there that runs from southeastern South Dakota and northeastern Nebraska across Iowa into northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. Could be some gusty thunderstorms there. Those may be approaching our area here late Wednesday night. They would not be severe by the time they got this far to the east, but we'll certainly be keeping an eye on things here for Wednesday night, Thursday, and into Friday. This is kind of interesting. Instead of the usual 66-hour rainfall total maps, this one is the next 5 days. This is Tuesday through Saturday. And you can see we've got a huge area of rain across Texas. Boy, Dallas area gets clobbered once again, row after row of thunderstorms coming through there. And that orange color that you see right there is 5 inches of rain over a 5-day period. In fact, it's really interesting. Every single state is going to be getting at least some rain somewhere You can see the rainfall totals are pretty significant across Montana, northern Wyoming, Minnesota into Wisconsin. Here in Michigan, we're looking at anywhere from about a half to 1.5 inches of rain. And and like I said, in many areas would be welcome. We're a little bit shy here for this summer in many areas. Okay, we'll take a look at the temperatures for today. 71 degrees, what we're expecting. If you're by Lake Michigan, low to mid 60s for high temperatures. It'll be at least partly sunny. Could even be mostly sunny for a little bit, but I think partly cloudy is probably a better way to go. Temperature here about 53 during the early morning. Humidity drops to 55%, and winds could get breezy in the afternoon. West winds at 10 in the morning and 10 to 20 here during the afternoon. High temperatures look like this. I think temperatures will be about 5-10 degrees cooler at the lake. We're getting South Haven 66, Holland Airport at 70, Grand Rapids 71 or 72, Kalamazoo at 73, just 66 for Ludington, Traverse City with a little bit of a west breeze not coming off the bay should make it up to 71. And over on the right side, you got to look at the UP there, and right along the Lake Superior shoreline, it'll be a little bit cooler, but it should be a pretty nice day up there as well. We move ahead to Wednesday, and Wednesday temperatures will be warmer in the afternoon, 81 for Grand Rapids, a bit cooler but very comfortable, 71 for South Haven, 73 for Ludington. And as you can see, temperatures will again be cooler right along the Lake Superior shoreline. But all in all, a couple of pretty nice days coming up here for Tuesday and Wednesday. The long-range outlook here out to Saturday looks like this. Partly cloudy skies for Tuesday, mostly sunny on Wednesday. We do have a chance of a shower or thunder shower here Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I know we got the golf tournament going on here, but they should be able to get in most or all of that in between the showers. And don't let that deter you from coming on out there. There's places to hide if there's any rain around, and it's really a fun and very well-run tournament. I've said many times here that I really appreciate the job that Meyer does with this. I've worked on the Western Open before down in Chicago because I'm an Evans Scholar, and Evans Scholars are recipients of some of the charitable money from the Western Open. But Myers does a great job with running this particular tournament. We've lowered the high temperatures a little bit here for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There'll be a front over our area here, so readings will be in the low to mid 70s. Long-range outlook here for the 8 to 14-day period. That shows much of the country with slightly above average temperatures. We're near average here, which would give us high temperatures averaging around 80 here, which is pleasant. I don't see a lot of 90s coming our way here into the first 3 weeks of June, so we'll see if that changes come July. It's going to be hot out west. Phoenix was 109 yesterday, and I bet they reach 112 or 113 by Sunday afternoon. This is the time when the sun is really high in the sky in Phoenix, and people try and stay out of the stay in the air conditioning here during the hottest part of the day. Same thing down in Florida, where they've seen many days in the low to mid 90s, and that trend is going to continue. And it finally warms up in Alaska. They've had a really cool spring up there. In fact, that North Slope has barely been above freezing this past week. A lot of snow piles still linger at places like Point Lay and Wainwright and the Barrow area there. So they're hoping to get temperatures up at least to 40 or so, make it a little bit more tolerable. Okay, let's look at our forecast here. Again, a couple of nice days coming up. Rainfall, again, over the 8 to 14-day period. That's June 17th through the 23rd. Should be slightly above average. And I don't see any real super drought shaping up here for the early part of the summer. It's below average out in the desert areas of Nevada and Utah. They don't grow a whole lot out there that isn't irrigated. So all in all, a pretty favorable agricultural outlook here for most of the country as we head into the mid part of June. Hey, I like your shirt. Blizzard Wizard. Yes, indeed. That one is from.
I'm mute. Now you can hear me show off my shirt.
That's from the Mitten Company. I haven't looked to see if they have any of those left. We have a merch store as well, but you can certainly check out the Mitten store and see what you like there as well. They had my picture one day. I think it was next to Tom Izzo's. I would imagine he was getting more action than I was, especially with that 7'9" guy coming to Michigan State.
There's this one, and I remember when Wood did a Bill's Blog shirt that
Yes,
they had in yellow and blue for a while.
yellow and blue. In
Those
fact,
are the two I remember. And then there was once in 11th grade when you were on a billboard, and
yes,
somehow you got a copy of the billboard, and you got
yes,
like they had done some practice round or something to prepare it, and
yeah.
you got the copy of the billboard size picture of your head, and you like displayed it in our living room one morning. And this was when he was a teenager, and when I was a teenager, and he was not cool. Yeah.
That was interesting. Yeah, Julie made somebody stop and get a picture of her with the billboard down on 131, just down toward the Wayland area. And I think I still have that. I don't think it's been opened in 20 years, but I think I still have that rolled up somewhere. It's a picture of my head on a canvas that has got to be like 12 feet by 12 feet. I was going to hang it up on the garage door once. And if you tie it to the base of the garage door, when the garage door goes up, my picture would come up, scare everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, June 10, 1919, Michigan was one of the first states to ratify the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote.
Votes for women. Remember Mary Poppins? Yep.
All right, your election quiz. Michigan has voted in 48 U.S. presidential elections. Once, Michigan voted for the Whig candidate, William Henry Harrison, in 1840. In 1912, Michigan voted for Theodore Roosevelt under the Bull Moose Progressive Party. Of the other 46 elections, how many times did Michigan vote Republican and Democrat?
Okay, so what do we got here? We had 48 elections. We had one Whig, one Bull Moose. Okay, so that leaves us with 46, right? I would think that we would be pretty even split. Let's go with an even split and see how close we come.
I'll give you a hint. No. Not an even split.
Not an even split. Okay.
So who do you think has more?
Well, okay. I mean, we had, in recent years, Michigan has tended to vote with the winner more often than not. Okay. And we had stretches where Republicans were doing better. After Woodrow Wilson, we had 3 or 4 Republican presidents in a row, and I'll say Republicans have a slight edge. How's that? Oh, more than a slight edge.
Quite a bit of an edge, yeah. And to your point, Michigan and Pennsylvania are tied for the longest current win streak of choosing the correct U.S. presidential candidate. The last time Michigan was wrong was John Kerry in 2004. Oh,
okay. Yeah, I remember that election. Because Bush won twice. Bush won in 2000 and in 2004. And in 2004, he added 3 states. Remember in 2000, we had the hanging chads down in Florida, and these guys were looking at this with a microscope or whatever. So yeah, but that's interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised there's that much of a difference. Yeah.
National Iced Tea Day, June 10. What % of tea in the United States is iced tea as opposed to hot tea?
Oh, okay. I'll say I should ask your mother, because she's a tea drinker and likes especially unsweetened iced tea.
She does.
Yes. I'll say 80% is hot tea. Ooh,
very good. That was a very good guess. Well, 85% is iced tea.
Yeah. Okay. It's iced tea. Yep. Indeed.
Yep,
yeah.
Very good.
And it's hard to find sweetened tea up here in Michigan, and it's hard to find unsweetened tea if you're in Alabama.
Yeah, it's hard to not find it in Alabama. You say you want regular tea, and it's going to have sugar in it.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Wow. So it's Iced Tea Day. I have to remember that.
This American singer and actress was born June 10 in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, as Frances Ethel Gum. She performed the role that would become her identity at the age of 16 after the studio failed to secure Shirley Temple and Deanna Durbin in the role. She married 5 times.
5 times, huh? All right. It was, what's her name? The gal from The Wizard of Oz.
Very good.
Yeah, and she was Frances Gum, and she was from Grand Rapids, Minnesota. I remember that. It's kind of weird having your the highlight of your career come at 16. That's kind of like my golf game. The highlight of my golf career was when I was 16, and I've gone downhill ever since.
Well, my music theater career peaked at 12, so I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in an act with her sisters called the Gum Sisters, and someone suggested they change it because it sounded like the Glum Sisters.
And there wasn't there a Marx brother that was Gummy or something like that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. What was her name? It escapes me. This is
You're
old
going to
age.
remember as soon as I advance the slide.
Well, of course, yes. I doesn't come to me at the moment, but
Okay,
she was
3, 2, 1.
yes, Judy Garland, right?
Mm.
She looks older there than she did in The Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
She was married 5 times, and it's really interesting how many Hollywood stars like that have everything going for them, and that they're still unhappy people. Interesting.
Public images are carefully crafted.
Well, I'm happy. Maybe I'm the exception of the rule. I've been very blessed. Everything is worked out fine.
June 10 is a national holiday in this European country. The day commemorates Luis de Camones, who died on June 10, 1580. The country has only one land border. The second largest city is Porto.
Okay, June 10th is a national holiday in this European country.
This is probably,
Okay,
it's probably Camones.
I'm thinking Portugal. Does that sound right?
That sounds right.
Okay. Does that make up for Judy Garland?
All right, I think I know the answer to this. I think I can tell you every country that you've been to.
Oh, okay.
So, Canada. When did you first go to Canada?
Oh, golly. I went to Canada the first time when we were driving back and forth to Boston for the NCAA hockey finals when I was in, I don't think I went with my parents. I think that was the first time. I would have been a student at the University of Wisconsin. It must have been about 1972 or so. And I've been back to Canada. How many times? I went to Toronto in 76. I went to the area from Sault Ste. Marie up to Wawa 2 or 3 times, including 1977. I've been to the Canadian Rockies with you kids. You were kind of along from the ride. I think Mom was pregnant with you. Was that, or is that San Francisco I'm thinking of? Could be. No, no, because Marie walked for the first time at the Victoria Cottage at Lake Louise in Western Canada, Alberta. So let's see. And then where else have I been in Canada? I don't know. I've been to Canada 6, 7 times. And on the right side, I have been to Venezuela. We stayed for the better part of a weekend on Margarita Island, which is on the north coast. We chartered a plane to go see Angel Falls, which is the tallest waterfall in the world. And it was amazing, the geography of Venezuela. It's so sad that Venezuela has as many problems as they have, because it's such a rich country when it comes to natural resources. The people are friendly. It's just, it's just a shame that they can't do better down there. But
sometime we need to dig up your photos from that trip, because that trip almost turned me into an orphan multiple times for different reasons. It was really quite something.
We had 2 pilots, and they were both young. They were like 23 and 22. Mm-hmm. And they were doing this flight like every day to try and log miles, because all they wanted to do was to come to the United States, like everybody else we talked to down there in Venezuela. Can we come to the United States? We'll get a job, work hard, and all that. And these guys, I bet they did. These guys were great. But he flew so close to that waterfall.
But they want to fly the plane out of Venezuela because you guys had a massive weights and balances issue, which should have been a warning about whether you should have been on the plane. Right,
exactly, yes. And we took every foot of that runway before we lifted off. The runway ended at the ocean, so had we not lifted off, we would have gone right in the drink.
I'm very glad you came home.
Yeah.
But
That
that's
was
another story. We'll get some pictures and we'll tell that story properly. And there you are,
London, England. Yes, I've been there, what, twice now?
twice.
Yes, and you can see Big Ben, the clock up there, the phone booth, which is made famous in many a movie. That says London. The Tower of London, the St. Paul's Cathedral. We saw so many good things there.
So my go-to places, I have a couple of places where I stay when I'm in London, and one of them is the Holiday Inn at London Heathrow. It's just really convenient. So then what you can do is you can take the blue Piccadilly line into the city as far east as you want to go and start walking back through the city along the blue line. You'll go through Piccadilly Circus. You can stop in at the churches. There's a lot of things to see. You can go down to the river. But then as soon as somebody gets tired and the day's over, you can just hop right back on the next stop to the tube and go back to your hotel. So it's a really, really convenient way to see the city. I've done it several times and it works well every time.
And I can vouch that you are an amazing travel agent to set all of this up. Everything is spelled out perfectly and everything goes according to plan.
Well, usually, yes, sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always going to be a blizzard in Fargo, and sure enough, we wind up in Tel Aviv. Why not?
That's true. So there you are in Tel Aviv.
Oh.
I'm so proud of that picture.
Isn't that fun?
Uh-huh.
That is the Mediterranean Sea on the right. I put my toes in the Mediterranean Sea, believe it or not.
It was surreal to be there for sure.
Me and Jonah, Yeah.
And that was worked out the last minute because, like you said, the place we wanted to go, there was a storm and the seats filled up and it wasn't going to happen. So we hadn't planned that trip at all. And then we ended up joining a tour to go to Jerusalem and Bethlehem. But because we didn't plan it at all, I didn't really have a purse. I should have grabbed something. So I didn't bring my phone and I didn't have a method of payment if we got separated from the tour. We had no plan. We were just going to have to live there forever because I had no way that we were ever going to get home or figure out what was going on. So that was a whole thing.
Remember, we kept losing people on the tour.
So the tour,
Wasn't that
Easter,
weird?
Yes, it was Easter weekend. So all the holy sites are completely packed, but they were still running the tour. They should have shortened it and taken out some stops, but they didn't want to do that. So they just kept leaving the people that weren't back to the bus stop when they needed to be. And by the end of the tour, we only had, I think, 60% left.
Yes. Where'd these people go to?
And the tour guide was just completely unaffected.
Yeah.
And if you got lost, they would say, oh, we talked to them. We just told them to meet us at the Wailing Wall. Well, I would have no idea how to do that.
Yeah, I know.
But
that was very interesting to see. I mean, all those landmarks that you've seen on TV, the Wailing Wall, the church at Bethlehem, and just it's amazing. And everybody was very pleasant to us. It was really a fun trip. And that's about what the weather was like. We had some clouds there, which was okay because that held the temperature into the 70s, and it was just a very pleasant trip.
Yeah, that was a really special one. And
Bahamas.
Yes.
That was the view from our hotel, and that was a beautiful beach. And we wound up renting chairs. The cruise ships were coming in through there, and I remember getting up at night and watching there are some stray dogs and cats, and they have a routine every night. The fellow told me that this dog, and this dog would show up at 3:30. The three of them together, they would go through the garbage and then they would move on, and it's the same routine every night. So it was fun. But we had a great time in the Bahamas. You remember the celebration that was going on there with all the drums?
There was a local parade with all the school kids, and they had the school kids one school at a time come dancing through. It was very cool.
Yes, and the parade was in slow motion. It was just they were stepping forward and backward and everything, and it was only like a couple of blocks, but you heard everybody, and it was very well done.
And this hotel, so you kind of got to watch the Caribbean. Some of the hotels can be very pricey. And if you're traveling on a budget because you like to travel a lot, you've got to be a little bit mindful of your hotel prices. So we picked this one instead of others, but that meant that we pretty much had to run across that highway to get to the beach, which is kind of fun when you're with seniors.
Yes.
So we got them to and fro the beach, but sometimes it was a little bit interesting because we were trying to save a buck on the hotel. And the
Which
other
we
thing I
did.
remember,
It was a great trip.
it
The
was
weather was perfect. It was low 80s during the daytime and 65 at night. And just it was the water. What was the water temperature there? It was like 74,
kind of
75.
perfect. And
It
your
was,
sister, my aunt, was with us.
yes,
And
yes.
oh my goodness, the brother and sister bickering. Oh my goodness, brothers and sisters, some things never change.
Well, we're a
It
little
was
different.
exhausting. Yes, they disagree on some things.
Yes, the typical family stuff, but we get
Mm,
along fine.
mm. All right, look at this adorable squirrel.
Aw, we have adorable squirrels in our yard. I was just watching. We have two baby squirrels that live up in the silver maple tree here. There's a hole in the silver maple tree, and three squirrels can cram in there. And when there's a storm coming, but these little squirrels are, I mean, they're really amazing. They really are. I mean, they're docile creatures. And when was the last time you heard somebody being attacked by a rabid squirrel? I haven't. And they'll come and they'll steal a little bird seed and jump up and down the tree. And we had one that was right next to a rabbit the other day. It's really kind of interesting. When they have a lot of food, they don't have to chase the others away. They can just all live together in perfect harmony.
So my great grandma on my mom's side, so my mom's grandma made friends with the neighborhood squirrels, and she named every single one of them Peter. And the squirrel would know it was allowed to come in and take
The
one
house.
nut from the container under the buffet and then go back out. And this went well and good for years. I saw it happen until one day a squirrel went berserk in the house.
Yes, and it did.
And then there was a problem.
They panicked, but eventually it got out.
Uh,
She would call the squirrel, and the squirrel would come just like a dog.
mhm.
And Peter, Peter, and this squirrel would come down the tree and come in the house and eat his
Mhm.
nut. And she would say, "Okay, Peter, time to go back outside." And the Peter would just go
Mhm.
outside, just like
Mhm.
I said, "Golly, that's incredible."
It was one of my favorite parts of going to visit her would be calling the squirrels.
Hmm.
Until the day it didn't go so well.
Your Aunt Jane can do that now. She's got a squirrel that she feeds. The
Hmm.
squirrel will come and tap on the window, and then she'll open up the window and or the sliding door, and then put a nut out there for it.
Well, this UP squirrel looks very happy. So thank you, John, for sending that in.
Yeah, neat. And John
And
Doherty.
Dan calls these dumpster chickens.
Well, that looks kind of distinguished, kind of noble. He's got his head up there and looking good.
Mm-hmm.
They can tolerate some a variety of temperatures and weather conditions and still manage just fine.
Mm-hmm. Having a good day in Benzie County.
Mm-hmm.
And here's how Muskegon looks.
Yes, it was an interesting day here with the clouds kind of in and out today, and then some scattered showers and thunder showers coming through.
Mm-hmm.
But we thank John, as always, for his pictures. We didn't have it to show you here, but he did send us a video of some of the rain showers coming through there. So that was kind of cool.
And if you need an update to the merch store, we'll put the link in the comments if you need an update to your Bill Steffen t-shirts, mugs, and stickers.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Yeah. Hey, it's been a great time talking with everybody here, and I hope you found this entertaining. Thanks so much for stopping by here and spending part of your day with us. Have yourself a fantastic Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow.